As I sit here, reflecting on the events that unfolded, I can't help but think about the two schools that became the center of an unsettling mystery. On one hand, there's the urban school, nestled in the heart of a bustling city. The air is thick with the hum of traffic, the distant wail of sirens, and the constant chatter of city life. It's a place where the noise never stops, where the energy is palpable, and where the students are as diverse as the city itself. The school is surrounded by tall buildings, their shadows casting a sense of urgency and chaos over the playground. Then there's the rural school. It's tucked away in a quiet corner of the countryside, far from the nearest town. The school sits alone, surrounded by fields and thick woods, the silence broken only by the occasional call of a bird or the rustling of leaves in the wind. The students here are fewer, and they know each other well, growing up together in this isolated community. The nearest neighbors are miles away, and the roads leading to the school are narrow and winding, sometimes feeling like they lead to the edge of the world. These two schools couldn't be more different. One thrives in the noise and rush of urban life, while the other is enveloped in a peaceful, almost eerie silence. Yet, both would soon find themselves connected by a shared experience that would challenge their sense of safety and security. The contrast between them would become stark as they navigated the unknown, each responding in their own way to the same chilling threat. It was a day like any other when the incident began, but none of us could have anticipated how it would end. In the urban school, the morning routine was in full swing. Classes were starting, and the usual sounds of shuffling feet and morning greetings filled the halls. That's when the first call came through the intercom. A lockdown was being initiated. The principal's voice, usually so calm, carried an edge of urgency that immediately set everyone on edge. No one knew exactly what was happening. Rumors started to swirl among the students. There was an intruder, someone had seen something suspicious, or maybe it was just a drill. But the uncertainty, the lack of information, made the situation even more tense. Teachers quickly locked doors and pulled down blinds, instructing students to stay low and silent. The city outside seemed to press in, the distant sirens and honking horns now a stark reminder of how close everything felt. Yet, within the walls, time seemed to stretch, the silence inside growing heavier with each passing minute. Meanwhile, in the rural school, the day had started just as uneventfully. The students had settled into their lessons, the quiet hum of the countryside providing a soothing backdrop. But then, without warning, the school's lockdown alarm began to blare. It was a sound none of us had ever heard outside of drills, a sound that brought an immediate chill. The teachers quickly moved to secure the building, their faces pale with confusion and concern. Out here, in the isolation of the countryside, the silence took on a different tone. It was as if the very stillness of the place became a presence of its own, amplifying the fear and uncertainty. The students huddled together, eyes wide, whispering questions that no one could answer. The nature of the threat was unknown. There had been no sightings, no clear danger reported. Just a vague warning enough to trigger the lockdown, leaving everyone to wonder what, if anything, was lurking outside those walls. In both schools, the ambiguous nature of the threat gnawed at the nerves of students and staff alike. The urban school's proximity to the chaos of city life contrasted sharply with the rural school's eerie quiet, but in both places, the fear was the same. The uncertainty, the lack of information, left us all in a state of heightened anxiety, bracing for a danger that we couldn't see but felt keenly. The moment the lockdown announcement echoed through the halls of the urban school, chaos ensued. Teachers scrambled to secure their classrooms, hastily locking doors and drawing blinds. The usually bustling corridors fell eerily silent, save for the occasional hushed whispers and the muffled sobs of frightened students. Despite the efforts to maintain calm, the fear in the air was palpable. Some students clung to their desks, while others huddled together, eyes wide with confusion and anxiety. The uncertainty of the situation fed into the panic, each minute stretching into an eternity. Outside, the response was swift. The blare of sirens grew louder as police cars, fire trucks, and ambulances converged on the school. The rapid response, while a relief to some, also brought with it a sense of surreal dread. Through cracks in the blinds, Students could see the flashing lights reflecting off the walls, casting an eerie glow inside the classrooms. The presence of emergency services was soon overshadowed by another, less welcome group. The media. Reporters and cameramen swarmed the area, their voices competing with the sirens for attention. Helicopters buzzed overhead, capturing the scene from above, adding to the cacophony. The media's presence was overwhelming, an intrusive reminder of the gravity of the situation. For the students and staff trapped inside, it felt like being in a fishbowl, every movement scrutinized and broadcast to the world outside. The constant noise, sirens, helicopters, reporters, created a relentless barrage, a backdrop to the unfolding drama that only heightened the sense of crisis. Inside, the psychological toll was becoming evident. Students, already on edge from the initial shock, now had to contend with the continuous reminders of danger just outside their walls. The unknown nature of the threat fed into a pervasive fear, a fear that was only exacerbated by the knowledge that the entire city was watching. Some students began to hyperventilate, the confined space and the unending noise becoming too much to bear. Teachers did their best to reassure them, but the strain was evident in their own expressions, the forced calmness masking their own rising anxiety. The experience left an indelible mark on everyone involved. The students, some of whom had never faced such a situation, found themselves grappling with a new and unsettling reality, one where their safety, once taken for granted, was suddenly in question. The constant noise and activity outside the school, far from being a comforting sign of help, became a source of psychological torment, a relentless reminder of the chaos that could breach their sanctuary at any moment. For the teachers and staff, the event was a stark reminder of their responsibility and the vulnerabilities they faced. The urban school, usually a hub of energy and life, had transformed into a place of fear and uncertainty, leaving a lasting impact on all who experienced it. At the rural school, the lockdown unfolded in stark contrast to the urban chaos. As soon as the alarm blared through the quiet hallways, a profound silence fell over the building. Unlike the urban school, where the noise of the city served as a constant reminder of the world outside, the rural school was enveloped in a deep, unsettling quiet. The isolation here was palpable, as if the school were suspended in time, cut off from the rest of the world. The vast fields and dense woods surrounding the campus only added to the sense of being completely alone. The students and staff quickly secured the doors and windows, following the lockdown procedures with a sense of urgency tempered by confusion. The rural setting, usually a peaceful backdrop, now felt ominous. The teachers tried to maintain a calm facade, but the unease in their eyes betrayed them. The lack of immediate information only fueled the fear. Unlike their urban counterparts, they couldn't hear the reassuring sounds of sirens or see the flashing lights of emergency vehicles approaching. The response from authorities was slow, the remoteness of the school meaning help was far away. As the minutes ticked by, the silence became oppressive. The students, usually so comfortable in their familiar surroundings, began to feel the weight of their isolation. The absence of sound was unnerving, amplifying every creak and groan of the old building. The wind howled outside, a low, mournful sound that seemed to echo through the empty halls. It was as if the very silence itself was a presence, watching, waiting. And then, there were the eerie moments that began to creep in, casting a shadow over the already tense atmosphere. Some students claimed to hear whispers coming from the direction of the woods, faint and indistinct, like voices carried on the wind. Others swore they saw figures moving among the trees, dark shapes flitting just out of sight. The stories spread quickly, each retelling adding another layer of dread to the situation. The rural school, with its isolation and natural surroundings, seemed to magnify these eerie occurrences, blurring the line between reality and imagination. The old building, with its creaky floors and drafty windows, became a vessel for the students' fears. Every sound was amplified, every shadow seemed to hold something sinister. The isolation, once a comfort, now felt like a trap, a reminder of how far they were from help. The students huddled together, whispering their fears, their voices barely audible in the heavy air. The teachers, trying to maintain order, could do little to dispel the growing sense of unease. In this eerie stillness, the rural school felt as if it were holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The unknown nature of the threat loomed large, casting a long shadow over the day. The combination of isolation and fear, the eerie atmosphere, and the slow response from authorities created a perfect storm of anxiety and dread. It was a day that left an indelible mark on everyone there, a reminder of how the unknown can turn the most familiar places into scenes of quiet terror. Eventually, the lockdowns were lifted at both the urban and rural schools, but the resolution was anything but clear-cut. The true nature of the threat remained shrouded in ambiguity. In the urban school, the emergency services reported no confirmed sighting of an intruder or any concrete danger. Rumors of a suspicious individual in the vicinity were never substantiated, leaving many to wonder if the panic had been caused by a false alarm or something more insidious. The media frenzy only added to the confusion, with conflicting reports and sensationalized stories muddying the waters further. In the rural school, the situation was similarly unresolved. There were no intruders, no apparent danger found. The eerie whispers and sightings remained unexplained, dismissed by some as figments of overactive imaginations, while others couldn't shake the feeling that something strange had indeed occurred. The sense of isolation and the slower response from authorities only deepened the unease, making the whole experience feel like a surreal, unsettling dream. The psychological effects of the lockdowns lingered long after the events themselves. At the urban school, students and staff struggled with a new sense of vulnerability. The sight of police and media swarming their familiar surroundings had shattered their sense of security. Many found themselves dealing with heightened anxiety, some having trouble sleeping or focusing in class. The constant reminder of the incident through news reports and conversations kept the fear fresh in their minds. In the rural school, the impact was different but no less profound. The isolation that once felt comforting now felt like a liability. The students, many of whom had never questioned their safety in the quiet countryside, now faced a new reality where danger felt closer than ever before. The eerie moments and unexplained phenomena left some with a lingering sense of fear, an uneasy feeling that they were not entirely alone. The experience highlighted the vulnerabilities of their remote location, making them acutely aware of how isolated they truly were. Reflecting on the events, it became clear that both schools had lessons to learn from the experience. The urban school's fast response, while efficient, was also chaotic and overwhelming, illustrating the need for better communication and more controlled procedures. The rural school's experience underscored the challenges of isolation, emphasizing the importance of clear communication channels and quicker access to emergency services. Both communities recognized the value of preparedness and the need for stronger support systems. For the urban school, this meant refining emergency protocols and ensuring that students and staff were better equipped to handle such situations calmly. For the rural school, it highlighted the importance of community ties and the need for a more robust safety network, including regular drills and stronger communication with local authorities. The lockdown served as a stark reminder that no place is immune to threats, and that the sense of safety can be fragile. The events, while unsettling, also brought communities together, prompting discussions on safety and preparedness. The experience underscored the importance of resilience and the need for collective action in the face of uncertainty. As both schools moved forward, they carried with them the lessons learned, determined to be better prepared for whatever the future might bring. In the end, the lockdowns at both the urban and rural schools were a sobering reminder of how fear and uncertainty can disrupt our sense of safety, no matter where we are. The experiences of these two schools, one grappling with the chaos of city life and the other with the eerie silence of the countryside, highlighted the diverse challenges faced in times of crisis. For the urban school, the overwhelming presence of media and the fast-paced response from emergency services showed the need for improved communication and control during emergencies. The constant noise and activity outside were a stark contrast to the calm that was sought within, leaving a lasting impact on the students and staff. The rural school, on the other hand, felt the sting of isolation and the slow response from authorities. The silence that once provided comfort became a source of deep unease, and the supernatural elements that seemed to emerge from the darkness only intensified the fear. The experience underscored the importance of having a robust safety network and clear communication channels, especially in remote areas. Both schools learned valuable lessons about preparedness, community support, and the importance of resilience. They discovered that while threats can come from any direction, the strength of a community lies in its ability to face uncertainty together. The events served as a catalyst for change, prompting both schools to refine their emergency protocols and strengthen their support systems. As we move forward, it is clear that the safety of our communities depends not just on our response to immediate threats but on our ongoing commitment to preparedness and mutual support. The experiences of these schools remind us that in the face of fear, it is the strength of our connections and the clarity of our actions that help us navigate through the darkest of times.